Tuesday, February 23rd, the year 2021. Went to the P.O. Box today, got letters from various prisoners. One of them was Pastor Ronald E. Turner Sr., who is bound in a wheelchair and 80 years old, spent the last 7+ years in prison on a 27-year prison sentence. And it's an egregious miscarriage of justice from what I've learned about his case so far. I got this letter. He sent a newspaper cutout from the Denver Post. Looks like it's from February the 7th of 2021. And the title is Reform Colorado's Judicial Branch. Scandal in Judiciary Likely Extends to the Bench Too. So let's just read this article real quick. The Colorado, well, you know what? It's very long. Let's just go ahead and read it, I guess. It's kind of long, but if you want to stick with me, we'll just read the article. The Denver Post, Reform Colorado's Judicial Branch. The Colorado Judicial Department is operating in an unaccountable silo where the Chief Justice of the Colorado Supreme Court wields power without transparency or oversight. The Denver Post has spent 2 years uncovering evidence of judicial misconduct being hidden from the public. Something must change. The integrity of the judicial department is of utmost importance. Colorado judges are entrusted with our freedom, our children, our assets, and our collective sense of right or wrong. Over the past 2 years, reporting by the Denver Post, David Migoa and Sam Tabachnik and other journalists has uncovered startling cracks in the system that have allowed the cover-up of allegations of wrongdoing by judges and by high-level employees. Now, Migoa has presented allegations from the court's former administrator that the former Chief Justice offered a thinly veiled bribe to disgruntled employee to avoid a tell-all lawsuit. In an unsigned memo to Judicial Department employees, the department denied the claim. However, no individual appears willing to associate their name with the denial. The ramifications of this allegation are not watered down by the fact that the Chief Justice Nathan Coates is no longer in his position or that most of the others involved with the cover-up are gone as well. It's time for the Judicial Department to come clean and then seek genuine reform. And if those at the helm of the department won't act, Colorado voters must force change upon the department. State Senate President Leroy Garcia has said lawmakers are looking at ways to force accountability, and the state auditor Diane Ray is also launching an inquiry following the publication of Migoa's story. The first step in this process is obvious. Former state court administrator Chris Ryan told the Denver Post that a memo exists detailing the misdeeds of approximately 20 judges and other court officials. The memo is a summary of a lawsuit that was threatened by a former chief of staff who was facing dismissal. Chief Justice Brian Boatwright, who replaced Coates after he retired on December the 31st, must release the memo. The Denver Post requested that the document, however, Colorado's Judicial Department is exempt from the state's open record laws. Instead, the department has made its own open records rules, drastically improved in recent years, but still imperfect. The Judicial Department did not deny that the memo existed, but rather said it was a work product that contains privileged information protected from disclosure. We are incredulous that work product could possibly include a completed memo created in December 2018 by state employees who no longer work for the department, nor is a memo from one state employee to another protected under privilege. The next steps for the department are going to be more difficult. Boatwright must launch an investigation into the contents of the memo. Allegations of impropriety cannot be allowed to fester. Ryan describes some aspects of the memo as gut-wrenching. This is Boatwright's one chance to prove the department is capable of policing its own. If change doesn't come now, Colorado voters will have to force change by creating a system of external oversight and placing the Judicial Department under the same open records laws most of the state government operates under. Scandal in judiciary likely extends to the bench too. Related $2.5 million payout stops lawsuits, February 4th news story. According to the Denver Post reporting, Mindy Messias was going to sue the state of Colorado over sexual discrimination stemming from being passed over for promotion and subsequently fired, and in that suit would be revealing scores of other incidents of similar conduct by both district and county judges, which infers the practice is rife within the profession. So the chief judge of the Colorado Supreme Court and the court administrator decided to offer her a lucrative contract to keep her mouth shut. The contract, Christopher Ryan said, would prevent a lawsuit and the judiciary from having to deal with a public airing of a host of ills of personal things judges do that are not related to their decision making. I don't know in what compartmentalized fantasy land they live, but a judge who sexually discriminates or harasses in his personal life is doing it on the bench too. I guarantee it. I've been there. Susan Williams, Lakewood. And then he also included a one-page letter to Rudy Davis from Ronald E. Turner Sr. I digested the book, One in a Million. Wow. Enclosed is Denver Post, 2 articles about corruption in Colorado courts. I sent a letter to David Magoya to see if he is interested in contacting me over the absolute proof I have of Boulder court corruption. Sent same time as the letter to you, as this letter to you. I received $43 and with the $16, and I will be calling you as soon as I get your info on the phone list in order to call. I have my statements ready to read for recording. I called my wife and she was on her knees praying for God to get me out of here. I had reached a point in tears. I told a Christian brother, I can't take any more bad news. I believe now it's turning around. Praise God, Brother Ron. Listen, man, if you guys think it's okay and appropriate for an 80-year-old man in a wheelchair to be in prison 7+ years because his son had a custody dispute with his wife, and there's something wrong with you if you believe that this whole situation is appropriate. There is a tremendous amount of injustice going on in the world, and people are suffering greatly. Pastor Ronald Turner has been married to his wife for over 60 years. And for them to be separated at this point in their life is just terrible. And we as a society should not sit quietly by. And we need to hold the evildoers accountable. And God's wrath, may God's divine wrath and divine justice come upon this situation and all situations throughout our country. To Jesus Christ be all the glory.